Coming up in the news tonight, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama says the extension of the emergency orders is crucial. A Bahamian-owned airline winning a major court battle. And new executive appointments announced at the Grand Bahama Power Company. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening. I'm Natalia Hall. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, the country has been under an emergency order since March of this year following an outbreak of COVID-19. While the nation's leader, Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. G.B.P.C, has noted that there's no plan at this time to increase restrictive measures, many have questioned the reason for another extension. Well, last Friday, the Senate passing the resolution to extend the emergency orders, and tonight, the Minister of State for Grand Bahama defends the decision and shares why this is crucial at this time. Shoshina Roll-Farquharson reports.
The order has been extended, but the restrictions will only be put in place if they see a need, if the numbers increase, and if we need to act quickly to be able to save lives.
Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson, defending the government's decision to extend the emergency orders amidst backlash due to this move. The government sought Parliament's approval to extend the country's state of emergency to January 31st, 2021, which passed in the Senate last week.
This gives the government the ability to put in place restrictions and put in place measures if necessary. And I think that's the point that we want to emphasize. We see restrictions being placed on countries all around the world now, in the United States, in Canada, in Europe, parts of the Caribbean. We see a surge. Unfortunately, while we are not experiencing a surge, the risk is still there.
He says this is why it is essential that the government has the ability to put in place stricter measures in the event of another surge.
And we want to emphasize that it may not be necessary. If the numbers continue to stay down, then the further restrictions, as we have seen in the past, the further restrictions would not be necessary. And so we don't want the public to be sort of overly anxious.
Minister Thompson believes that this is being done for the betterment of all.
This has been said by our Minister of Health, and this has been said by our Prime Minister, and this has been the practice of the Prime Minister, to only act with restrictions if it is a necessary measure and if the numbers are there and if it is necessary to protect the public. No one really wants to see any further restrictions. And the Prime Minister has proven and has shown that these restrictions are only put in place to save lives and that they are only put in place as a precautionary measure when it comes to health and safety for the public.
Shoshina Roll-Farquharson, ZNS Network News. According to the latest emergency orders released today, Grand Bahama is now under a 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew Monday through Sunday. Now we will have more on changes to restrictive measures on Grand Bahama in tomorrow's newscast. And now to an update on travel to the island from the Ministry of Tourism. In this report, the General Manager, Stephen Johnson, noting that travel numbers are increasing since the country's borders were reopened last month, as passengers are no longer required to quarantine. And he says the Ministry of Tourism expects larger numbers in 2021. On November 1st, the mandatory 14-day quarantine that was required upon arrival into the country was lifted. But General Manager of the Ministry of Tourism on Grand Bahama, Stephen Johnson, says there are still a few protocols that travelers must follow, and that includes a mandatory survey.
Got to come in with their negative PCR test. And if you're here during the 5th day, they obviously have to take an antigen test. And basically, we're trying to keep ourselves safe, and we're trying to keep them safe as well, coming here into Grand Bahama Island. So, you know, we're really happy with the health and safety protocols. We believe that 2021 is going to be a really strong year for us.
The general manager says so far, statistics show that people are lined up to travel to Grand Bahama next year.
Fishing, boating, diving, the niche markets, and obviously to attract big groups to Grand Bahama is going to be later on in 2021. Fraternal groups, Masonic groups, religious tourism are going to be some of the additional growth opportunities for Grand Bahama. We know it's going to happen. We're not just saying it. We have stats to prove that people are going to be coming here to Grand Bahama. So we got to be ready. All of our service has to be impeccable, and everybody has to be ready to perform.
Johnson says the reopening of the tourism sector is vital for Grand Bahama.
We've been through Dorian. Most people have suffered a big blow, and haven't worked since Dorian, going into COVID-19. And so we've got to learn to work with COVID. This is something that's happening all around the world, and it's good to see that there's some progress being made as far as vaccines. And I know it's a long way out for the testing, but for Grand Bahama Island, we're really happy that we can put people back to work.
It's Halia Hall. The Ministry of Health confirming 11 new cases of COVID-19 yesterday. Those new cases bringing the country's total of confirmed cases to 7,541. Of those 11 new cases, 4 are in New Providence and 7 in Grand Bahama. A total of 18 cases are hospitalized. 4 of those cases are in hospital on Grand Bahama. There are 22 recoveries and the death toll remains at 163. In other news, a 13-year legal proceeding for the largest privately owned airline in the Bahamas has finally come to an end, and the owners could not be happier now that the matter has concluded in their favor. With the victorious outcome, the owners of Western Airlines are looking to close another chapter by completing repairs to its passenger facility. Rumiko Knowles reports.
The highest court of appeal, the Privy Council, has ruled in favor of Western Airlines in a legal matter regarding an aircraft which was stolen off the Lynden Pinling International Airport's ramp some 13 years ago. In November, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council dismissed the airport authority's final appeal, ruling that they were negligent in the theft of Western Air's Metro aircraft on April 26, 2007. VP of Operations and General Counsel Shirexi Orexi Roll says they are happy that justice has finally prevailed.
We are certainly pleased by the Privy Council's judgment in our favor. As mentioned, by our CEO, it has been a long time, 13 years, and we certainly felt throughout the time frame that this could have been resolved much earlier. But nevertheless, we're here and we're grateful that the outcome was the way it was.
A statement was released by the airline noting that it is unfortunate that they had to fight for so long on a matter that could have been easily resolved. Officials say thank God they had the resources to fight the matter to the end in the highest court. Now, while they are grateful about the outcome, Roll says they are mindful of other small businesses in the Bahamas that are not able to endure such injustice.
We feel as if, particularly for small businesses, to be able to fight legal battles, it requires resources, it requires funds. And while, thankfully we had the opportunity to do so, 13 years is a long time. And our CEO certainly tried to have this matter resolved and come to a mutual understanding quite long ago. But nevertheless, we're here now, but we certainly think about a lot of smaller businesses that may not have been able to put in those resources to fight a battle up to the Privy Council.
The airline is also looking to close another chapter by completing repairs to its maintenance facility and passenger terminal on Grand Bahama, which was destroyed during Hurricane Dorian.
We're going to get started on the passenger terminal in the coming weeks, but we have already started on the maintenance terminal about a couple of months ago, and it's been going very well. And we just look forward to getting back into our home space. As you know, we've been operating in our mobile terminals, and that's been going well. However, we're so ready to get back into our usual terminal spaces, and we hope that it's going to be an even better experience for our passengers. Hurricane Dorian was no joke, and 1 year later, we are still building back and ensuring that we improve our experience for our passengers.
In the meantime, Rolls says they look forward to providing service to their passengers in the midst of COVID-19.
We've got our hands full in terms of, like you mentioned, the rebuilding of our Freeport facility and continuously providing consistent flight service. And we're also continuing in our efforts of getting our U.S. certification. That process is ongoing as well. And so we look forward to being able to provide flight services into the U.S. eventually once we have been finally approved.
Rumiko Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Now to the crime beat. Police on Grand Bahama have launched an island-wide manhunt for the suspect involved in a high-speed vehicle chase on East Sunrise Highway this afternoon. Reports say shortly after 1 p.m., officers of the mobile unit received information about a suspicious vehicle, a gold Chevy, in the area of East Sunrise Highway, and suspected that the lone male driver was in possession of a firearm. The driver, upon seeing the officers, accelerated speed along East Sunrise Highway, and officers pursued the vehicle. The vehicle then spun around in the midst of traffic and sped off in the opposite direction in the wrong lane. Now officers gave chase to the area of Seahorse Road, where the male suspect stopped the vehicle and ran into nearby bushes. Police are now in search of that suspect. The Grand Bahama Power Company announcing executive appointments that is expected to advance its goals of transitioning to a fully Bahamian-led operation. Jimmy Lemizik explains.
Nagita Mullings, a Grand Bahama native, is the Chief Operating Officer of the Grand Bahama Power Company. In a statement released by the company on Monday, G.B.P.C says Mullings brings a strong safety, operations, and administration background to the critical role that oversees all areas of operations and administration for the organization, adding that Mullings' unwavering focus on working safely, her strong leadership capability, and commitment to excellence will ensure the company delivers on its commitments to customers. President and COO of Americaribbean Incorporated, Dave McGregor, says since joining G.B.P.C in 2014, Mullings has been an invaluable part of the team, noting that she has been a storm lead with accountability for the emergency storm response plan, including leading restoration following the devastation of Hurricane Dorian in 2019. Now, as COO, Mullings will oversee operation-wide leadership with responsibility for strategy, department development and oversight, team and culture building, and core operational functions and reporting. And McGregor says with her commitment to safety and operational excellence, she's more than prepared for the challenging role. G.B.P.C also announcing the appointments of Tony Seymour to Vice President Operations and Dominique Pinder to Vice President Administration, reporting to the new COO. A native of Long Island, the Bahamas, Seymour has overseen the day-to-day maintenance, planning, and operation of the energy plant since joining the company in 2018. Prior to that, she held increasingly senior leadership and technical roles at Bahamas Power and Light. Seymour adds customer operations to her new portfolio as VP Operations, enabling stronger efficiency, communication, and planning between generation, transmission, and distribution of energy to customers. Pinder, also from Grand Bahama, maintains her full suite of current responsibilities, including legal, compliance, and regulatory affairs, and assumes accountability for customer solutions as VP Administration. Her 9 years of progressively senior roles in the company's customer service division will ensure the team's ability to develop and implement innovative solutions to address customers' needs and increase customer service transparency. McGregor says the appointments of Seymour and Pinder round out a skilled, agile, and committed senior team that will guide the organization to continually improve reliability and service to customers, adding that advancements from within make way for opportunities for more Grand Bahama Power employees while streamlining and strengthening the team and allowing for clearer succession planning. He says there is a very bright and exciting future ahead for G.B.P.C and the island of Grand Bahama. McGregor was recently appointed President and COO of Americaribbean Incorporated, G.B.P.C's parent company, with regional operations responsibility. Effective December 1st, he assumes an oversight role at G.B.P.C while maintaining overall responsibility for the utility's performance. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Thanks, Jamila. Well, today, December 1st, is being observed as the 32nd World AIDS Day. The theme, Global Solidarity, Shared Responsibility. Now, on this day, people around the world unite to show support for people living with and affected by HIV, as well as those who lost their lives to AIDS. The Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Health are issuing a statement on the annual observance. According to the statement, the Bahamas is a member state of the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the Human Rights Council. As such, the Bahamas is committed to doing everything possible to ensure that those who are impacted by the disease receive the necessary treatment and are not stigmatized in society. Now, the statement concludes by saying that the COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated the importance of taking steps to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone in society, and the Bahamas reaffirms its commitment to the fight against the disease. Now, stay with us. There's more news right after this break.